Yo, what's going on? Episode 73 of the Wrestling's podcast. Back in the studio with the Mandem.
What's happening?
Nice Wednesday, but when you listen to this, it'll be a nice Friday. Hopefully it's not raining on a Friday.
Yeah, Boris fixed the weather, blood.
Yeah, as you know, we're still in lockdown, but we're still going to give you the content as usual. Mandem, introduce yourself.
When I say go up, you say daddy. Go up!
Daddy!
Go up!
Daddy!
It's a strong star rating, leg drop hating, big back rubbing, Jericho loving, son of a gun is your boy Del, boy, aka Swaldily, aka Pro Gopties, aka the Nostalgia Police, aka Hay Fever's a Mindset, aka the Cargill Maniac, aka the Black Velvet to Red Velvet, aka the UK Sheamus. Already know the vibes. If I missed the AKA, I missed it out. Is it?
The king of the AKA. Yo, people, you know it is. It's your boy King Laps, the champagne sipper and main event liver. We're back again for this wrestling talk, this smack talk, this Kenny Omega approved talk.
Come on.
This get us to 1,000k subscribers talk.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? Come on.
Let's go.
Oh, you man, nothing on us. It's done. It's done. We have to go straight to the topic now, fam. Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself, please? What's
sorry. Hi, my name is Anafi, formerly known as the VHS Pappy, but now go by the name of... What do I call myself now?
Oh, Lord.
I've even fumbled again, see? Yeah, VHS Pappy. Let's go. Episode 73 of the Wrestling Podcast.
This guy is fumbling.
I fumbled so many times.
Why are you nervous?
Fam, literally, whenever it comes down to the intro, yeah, I don't know how to start this, innit? But it's episode 73 of the Wrestling Podcast. It's always nice when we have a new, fresh voice on our podcast, man.
Yes.
We've got our guy Earl.
What's happening, people?
Introduce yourself, bro. Stage is yours.
I feel like I got big shoes. Like I can't do what you do.
Trust me, fam. That's what I'm saying. You set the bar.
I know.
We're in the same faction together, so it's cool.
I ain't got it like that. I ain't got charisma like that, bro.
Trust me, fam.
Bars high.
Yeah. I'm Earl. Nah. Nah, I ain't gonna try. Nah, big wrestling fan. I'm a big fan of you guys too. I watch your show. Well, since Kenny Omega told me to. So yeah.
Big up.
Yeah, I've only literally for the last, I don't know when that was. Like I've been watching the show, but I've gone back and I've yeah, I'm a big fan of you guys, man. And I love what you guys are doing, and I love talking about wrestling.
Sick. I appreciate it. That's nice, man.
Dope, man. Kenny Omega approved, ready on the vibes.
Yeah, I'm saying we don't need to get verified. We've been verified.
That's all you need, bro.
That's literally it, man.
Bro, where do we start?
I think we should start with the Chyna Doc.
Let's go.
Fresh in our minds. Vice recently released the Chyna Documentary, more or less detailing, more or less her whole life, basically. Yeah, more or less detailing her whole life, growing up, her transitioning to getting into wrestling, being seen by Triple H, Vince McMahon, starting off her relationship with Triple H, the dissension of that, the dissension of her WWE career, her going to Japan, her starting porn, and everything else that happened everything in between and until her death. And I'm not gonna lie, we were speaking about it briefly before we started recording. I'm not gonna lie to you, I think this is probably one of the craziest documentaries I've seen.
Oh, facts.
For real?
As in terms of like wrestling,
More than any Dark Side of the Rings that you've seen.
I think more so because we're kind of like seeing, we're kind of seeing the road to her death. Like we're seeing like the downfall. Like we've seen her like go up. Like, okay, cool, I'm gonna try to change my life. I'm back in LA now. I'm gonna try to get my career back on the roll. And then just her interaction with the filmmakers and them doing drugs together.
Mezzop.
And then
that was ridiculous.
And then, you know, her final interview where she's more or less like kind of crying for help, and it's just like, fuck. It's like every person that she ends up meeting that kind of like tries to help her, it's like
it becomes a downfall.
Yeah.
It's weird.
That's crazy.
I don't get it.
And then there's people that were there in her past where they've like, yo, you need to kind of like fix up, like you need, but it's like, it's just almost like she's almost like searching for approval everywhere she goes, and it's crazy, man. How did you, man, find it?
You go. I thought you were going to say, all right, cool. Look, I really like the documentary. I think Vice as a whole have just done really good work.
Big up Vice, man.
Big up Vice.
I know it's not part of Dark Side of the Ring, but I mean, this Vice as a whole taking professional wrestling and putting it out there and not sugarcoating it. Like, I don't know if you saw any of the A&E bios.
Yeah,
it's all hunky-dory.
Yeah, it's WWE, so it's what you expect. But the Vice documentaries were just like, all right, cool. If it happened, it happened, and it is what it is. But yeah, Chyna, just a super sympathetic character towards the end. I mean, during her during her peak, she had a reputation for being really hard to deal with, though, with the other wrestlers. And that's always something that I always hear about, especially now. I mean, Jim Ross did a podcast on her where he literally, I don't want to say he buried her for 3 hours, but he was very honest in how he dealt with her and that she was a lovely person, but you know, that whole situation with Triple H and Stephanie really, really, really took its toll on her towards the end. And, you know, at the end of the day, that, I don't want to say it finished her career, pretty much did finish her career, you know.
I feel like that was the catalyst for it still.
Yeah, her downfall was because of that, really. You know, and you know what's crazy as well, sorry. What's crazy is that WWE helped so many people with rehab over the years, and they've spent so much money on a lot of people. And I don't think I ever heard about her going to from them at all. Yeah, I don't think they did.
Do you feel like the reason why they didn't do that was because of I wouldn't want to call it a affair, but the whole thing between Triple H and Stephanie McMahon? I feel like that was one of the main things which kind of like drove her out of WWE. From what I got from the documentary, and it was like something that she kept coming back to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's got something to do with it. I also think that her condition at the time. When you look at how she was, I watch a lot of stuff, and I remember when she was on A Surreal Life, that reality TV show.
Was that on VH1?
Yeah, it was on VH1. I actually watched it, and she was
finished.
Train wreck. She was a train wreck, and WWE at the time, because professional wrestling had, it kind of still does, but it had such a sleazy reputation at the time of, you know, people just dying under the age of 40, and they were really trying to stay away from some people. Even Kurt Angle, they got rid of Kurt Angle at that time just because they thought Kurt Angle was going to OD, and they didn't want an Olympic gold medalist under contract for them, so they got rid of him because he was, you know, I don't know if you heard about Kurt Angle at the time, but he was just a mess.
Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
What year is that?
2006.
He was 2006.
Is that when Chyna went on that?
She was in 2007, I think she was on the show. But they were trying, because Eddie had just passed away in 2005.
Yes.
And, you know, so many guys had passed away, like that was a link to them. So they were trying to stay away from that. So I think that was part of it as well. They didn't want Chyna anywhere near them just because she was in such a bad way. But also, at the end of the day, they used the whole porn excuse as well. And
that was poor. Yeah. Can we talk about that as well? Because I didn't really, I've seen that Triple H interview, but I've never actually listened to it.
It was on a Steve Austin.
But I've never actually gone out and listened to that podcast episode. But after hearing what he said, that's actually a madness, you know, because, bro, after many of the crimes that a lot of wrestlers have done in WWE so far, we're going to try and pickpocket her, just, you know, making money or, like, bro, just, you know what I mean? Just saying that how, if my daughter were to click on, go on Google and type in Chyna, what would she see? That's a mazzoline.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, cap. I get why he say it, but it's a cap because if you even prior to that, if you Google Chyna, her porn is not coming up.
It doesn't come up now.
It doesn't.
I Googled Chyna after I watched that thing. WWE videos.
Yeah,
that's literally it.
And bro, even on the screenshot on the video, no porn came up. The only thing that came up was the what culture are 13 things WWE doesn't want you to know about Chyna.
I see that.
That's literally it.
Deep it though. They got current superstars right now that have porn videos everywhere.
Yeah,
Xavier Woods,
Paige, but you know, she's not the only one. Like, look at that. You know, for whatever reason, a lot of wrestlers have got this thing where they need to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. It's like that is something that they really care. A lot of them don't.
Yeah, you don't need to be in there. Like,
it doesn't mean anything.
It's nice,
yeah.
But
I mean, even Mick Foley said it as well. Like he didn't really get like why she was so fixated on why she wanted to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. But for her, it's just she just wanted to approve what she just wanted to love. You know what I'm saying? So that's why even when they went back to WWE offices, everyone was thinking, this ain't gonna end. This ain't gonna end right. Like you mess up, man.
So like, you look at the guys that are in that Hall of Fame. It's like, you know, Jimmy Snooker's in the Hall of Fame. It's like, you know, Hulk Hogan is in the Hall of Fame. Like, you know, there's a lot of guys that you could just Google and look at some of the stuff that they got to in the, you know, the 80s was a crazy period. You know, crazy period. Like, but Chyna, you know, she's not even. All right, so she's done a couple.
She's the least of their problems.
She's
man.
not. Yeah,
she was really a catalyst. Well, a main pinnacle in the women's division at her time. Like, she was the best, basically. Like, there was no one on her level. So how can you not put her in?
She was a superstar.
Yeah,
from her entrance alone, bro. She came with a shotty, fam. No one else came in with that gun, bro. Like only her, bro, and had fireworks and stuff.
Yeah.
Bro, it's just, fam, me personally, I feel like there's a lot of people need to be held accountable in that documentary. And
Big time.
I think mainly, for me personally, the manager and the filmmaker, I wasn't really messing with.
By the end of it, I hated him so much.
Angry at them.
From when he said, the reason I wanted to do this film is because I knew she does drugs and I do those kind of drugs as well, so it would have been fun to do drugs with Chyna. I knew it was going downhill from there.
Bro.
He was just so casual.
I'm sorry as well, yeah.
No remorse, nothing.
I'm sorry as well, yeah. Take out all the documentary stuff that Vice filmed, yeah, and you put all their documentary shots in the actual sequence, yeah.
It was so shit.
The documentary is fucking shit.
It's trash.
I'm sorry, it wasn't going anywhere. I'm sorry. Why did they go Vegas? Why did they even go back to WWE? Why are they filming this stuff? It's more like it's basically like a. Do you know people say they bury wrestlers? That's a burial. I'm sorry.
I've got a great idea.
I'm
Let's
sorry.
go to Vince McMahon's building and go try and ask him to come down. Like Vince is really going to come down.
And come and say, hey guys, I'll just have a meeting. He's talking like
crazy.
He's talking like like, come on, man. Like, that was a bad documentary, bad move, man. And R.I.P. Chyna, man. She's done it. She's been through a lot. I think what made me smile was the fact that I didn't know that she had a stint at New Japan. She had a match with Chono, which was
TNA. I think she went TNA, exactly. She had TNA run, yeah.
In 08, when she was a mess.
TNA.
Yeah.
And she came against who?
I can't remember. Her name was Chyna Doll something.
She had a tag match. Chyna Doll. She had a
that's Chyna because she couldn't get the name. I remember, yeah.
She partnered with Jeff Jarrett, or was it against Jeff Jarrett?
I remember 08. I remember around that period, they had so many people coming to TNA. They had like Randy Savage and Rick Steiner. They had so many weird people come in.
They even had Rikishi at one
Yeah, exactly. They had Rikishi come in.
Anyone that WWE got rid of, they bought into Test.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just like Val
Even
Venus.
Test was there as well.
Test was there. Val Venus. Like, it didn't matter. It's, hey, he was
Road
on
Dogg, Billy Gunn.
The James Gang, bro.
James Gang, yeah. Or Voodoo King Mafia, or whatever they called it. Nah, it's crazy, man. Even like the other guy, like the manager at the end, when the mum was talking about how she wanted.
Can you explain that? Can you explain that to the listeners, please?
Bro,
the listeners.
So this is what's happened now. Yeah. So the mum.
It.
So imagine your mum hasn't seen you in over 30 years. You've passed away, and you've requested your daughter's manager.
Say the mum's wishes.
The mum's wishes were for you to get the body cremated, dump a quarter of the, or was it 3/4 or a quarter? 3/4 of the ashes into an ocean in LA, and then you give me the rest of the quarter so I can keep it in my house and commemorate your memory. How is it that my man, the manager, has dumped half of it into the ocean and then has made a stupid memorial service and he's vajazzled the urn?
Yeah.
And he's walked on stage with the urn. The bitch is back. The bitch is back.
Oh my days.
Mezzop.
That guy needs to be held accountable for.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I saw that and I was just. I've seen some low things, in wrestling, but that was. You know, David Von Erich's funeral. Yeah. You know, Fritz sold pictures outside.
Oh, sir.
Yeah. David Von Erich, when he died in '84, his dad Fritz sold glossy 8x10s. David
the Von Erichs are about business. Should I tell you I knew the service was going to be shit? You see at the outside the venue, the picture. When I saw the drawing of Chyna, I said this is gonna be shit. I don't. So you see outside the center where they do the memorial, and they had they usually have like a sign saying welcome or come at this time. They had the drawing of Chyna, I saw the drawing. I said this is gonna be shit, man. And they had people taking pictures and paying to take pictures with the urn.
It's a meet and greet with Chyna's urn or whatever. No man.
What was it with those Mandem, yeah? There was Mandem standing by the urn like this. Like that. Pointing to the urn. Putting gunshots to the urn. That's disrespectful, fam. I'm sorry, call it off. Like, Chyna, she's a legend. She doesn't need to go down like that, fam. Nah. They made Chyna look like she's some... Bro, come on, man. Respect her,
fam. They should have pissed out of her.
When DX went into the Hall of Fame, was she a part of that?
Yeah, she was a part of that.
She was a part of that.
But none of the family came to that, did they?
So I don't think so. I'm not too sure.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that documentary was...
Listen, Mandem,
crazy.
If anybody you know, God forbid they pass, and anybody now comes to do gun fingers or wanada with the urn, you have to kick that person. Bruv, that is brazy.
You know that's gonna happen though.
When I saw the man, you know that pose, or you know the boxing pose that boxers do, when they have different stuff like that. Fam. That is to the urn. I said the manager's cracked. I swear to you.
That is bad.
I think a part that really made me feel sad because I watched that at 3 a.m. I can't believe I stood up for the whole thing.
I watched it late too.
I went for a toilet break and I've come back to Toilet break, you know. I woke up, went to the toilet, and I've come back downstairs, and I was like, oh shit. Let me just watch the Chyna Documentary. I put on the TV, I was watching it, yeah.
As you do.
And I stayed up until like 4 a.m, bro, watching it.
It's like 2 hours, isn't it? Like
2 hours, yeah.
It's an amazing documentary.
And the part that hit me the most is when she bugged Mick Foley, like it was randomly. She saw Mick Foley and the autograph signing, she's just like crying, innit? And it's just, bro, it hit me, man. I was like, fam, this is sad, man.
Yeah. It's good that they gave her a full doc though, because some of those Dark Side episodes, it's a shame that they're like 42 minutes or whatever, because some of them could just be double that. Some of them, like Dynamite. I don't know if you see Dynamite.
Yeah, that could have been more.
That could have been way more.
I need a second part.
Yeah, definitely.
Second part, like the Chris Benoit one.
Chris Benoit. That was 14 years ago today.
Oh shit!
Today's the
He was found 14 years ago today.
That's crazy.
No,
they did that tribute show 14 years ago today.
Yeah, and after the next day, they turn around and say
planted it.
They knew.
They knew.
They knew.
You think they knew?
They knew that he. Okay, here's the thing. Yeah, I'm not trying to say that they knew he did it, but it was already out that it was suspected murder-suicide. So what I think happened was that they was just like, all right, there's no way he did that, because Dave Meltzer had already reported it, and they were the source. They told him, so they knew. But I just think that they would have just heard that. How can you believe that he done
it's a
that?
bit mad.
Yeah, it's a bit mad.
Now, how could you believe that?
Especially if you know him personally.
Yeah, you know. Although I remember William Regal, his video. Do you remember his tribute video? Yeah. He was like, oh, Chris was a fantastic wrestler. But that's all I'm going to say about him at this time, because I think
he knew.
He believed exactly what they heard at that time. Yeah, but that was crazy that day.
That was crazy.
I remember that like it was yesterday.
I think one image that sticks to me the most is when Eddie Guerrero passed away, and they done the memorial, the speeches for everyone. And Chris Benoit was one. He done his one, and he was proper crying, and his face is like, that image scares me.
He was saying stuff like, "I love you, and I'll see you one day."
That image scares me, bro.
At his funeral, because I remember his funeral, he was inconsolable, standing over that coffin, apparently, because Dave Meltzer was there, and he said,
"That's a quick question, yo. How does Dave Meltzer get back? Is he like the CIA of wrestling or something?
He's like the inside.
For someone, he's been at someone's wedding. Someone's wedding. He's been at someone's funeral reporting news. That's mad.
No, but he's been in the business like maybe early 80s.
Was he once a wrestler? Or was he like just a journalist?
He's a writer who did soccer, and he liked wrestling, and he did The Observer, and that was his main thing that he did, but he was also soccer, and he was a football reporter and all sorts of stuff. But
so he doesn't do football no more, does he?
Because he doesn't have the time. And he did MMA, and he did pro wrestling, and that's what he did. But I mean, Dave got popular with the other wrestlers because he would tell them how much the buildings did. Like, because back in the day, you weren't paid on the year, you were paid on the gate. So it would be like, get 10% of the gate or whatever. So he'd tell the wrestlers what the gate was, and then they'd work out how much they were supposed to have got paid. And he had that information for all the territories, so that's how he would get information from all the wrestlers.
That's crazy.
And so he was very friendly with a lot of people, and he said that at the funeral, he said that Chris Benoit was inconsolable. Like, he said he's never seen anything like it or whatever. But Chris, you talk about a guy that, because he lost a few people in wrestling around that period.
Yeah, he lost.
That period, that generation of pro wrestlers, though, they lost so many friends.
Too many.
You're a guys on the street that haven't lost as many friends as some of those guys or whatever during that period. But 14 years ago today, a bit of history. I only knew that because I saw it on the way up here. I was like, oh my days, madness.
That's crazy. That's nuts. I mean, I don't know if to say rest in peace, but I mean, rest in peace to his family. That's literally it. And Nancy and Daniel.
You say rest in peace to his family.
Yeah, I mean those. Rest in peace to Nancy and rest in peace to Daniel.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
It's the podcast. It's nuts, man.
I have to play Outstanding by Gap Band.
That's jokes, man. What was happening? You watch Raw?
When do I ever watch? I heard Raw was good, but I don't watch it.
Raw was right. Let's talk about that.
Is that on a Raw scale though? That was a Dynamite episode. People be crapping on it though, right?
Let me give you honest facts, innit? Mandem call me the WWE mark. I don't even.
Do people call you that?
Really call you that?
People think I love WWE, you know.
I thought it was.
Sammy's a WWE guy, but I got tissue still. Sammy's a WWE guy, yeah. I wouldn't.
He's the WWE mark.
With me, sometimes he's a face now. I feel like me myself. Sometimes I feel like I do back WWE a bit too much.
Yeah.
But I don't back it to the point where I'm like, I back it like a little bit, innit? But on a real though, this episode, the way it started off was quite enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I think there was a few things happened. For example, Matt Riddle and there's conflict between Matt Riddle and Randy Orton now. Matt Riddle's costed Randy Orton on the match, innit? And after Randy was like upset, and even before that, they had a speech and was like, "Yo, stay out my way, blah blah. I need to vice versa in it." And after, yeah, there's confliction there. But what I'm more invested in right now is that Bobby Lashley and Kofi Kingston match. Kofi, like, they were using personal reasons, they were using personal like moments, like to get their promo across.
Yeah.
So Kofi was like, I think MVP was like, MVP and Bobby Lashley were like, "Oh, you man need to chill. Like, it's not time for the clowning thing. You man are clowns. You man just walk around WWE playing games and do that sort of stuff." And after Xavier was like, "Yo, you man are from that old generation of wrestlers where you man have fun and you man are just there just doing whatever, like just being bored and stuff, innit?" Kofi said something. Kofi said something along the lines of this, that, "Oh, MVP, don't act like I didn't see you cry when I won the WWE Championship."
He said that.
When he said that, I was like, these man can have a banging story, fam. Absolute banging story, fam.
But it's Kofi ain't gonna win though.
That's still look. Let's pause this. Yeah, let's pause this. Drew, yeah. Drew respects Kofi after that match they had. Yeah, shook hands, right? So Bobby Lashley and Kofi Kingston to have this match of Money in the Bank. Not to say Kofi's not credible, but there could be a thing where there's an interruption or there's like someone comes in. For example, Drew comes in and costs Bobby Lashley the title. Loses it like that. Drew has no Bobby Lashley and Drew might feud again, whatever. Then probably have Brock come into whatever in it. But I think that's one way it can go in it. Do you know it's mad me saying this, but I can't see Kofi pinning Bobby Lashley like on the whim, like bam, pinning him like that. It's mad. Like I respect Kofi a lot. But
I mean that's not taken away from Kofi. Kofi is good, yeah. But the thing is, I feel like only now is Bobby Lashley's WWE title run actually like started. Because
we're coming out the pandemic, we're going to
no, we're coming out of the Drew McIntyre series now. Like there's only so many times you can fight Drew McIntyre. It's done now, so now it's like cool. Let's kind of find fresh competition for him. So now Kofi Kingston are now like that's something new for us to now see. Then after Kofi, we're now moving to someone else. No more of this Drew McIntyre stuff because.
Who have they got after Kofi?
I don't know anyone. I'd rather see Humberto Carrillo versus Bobby Lashley at this point, rather than see.
I think we're gonna see Bobby Lashley doing like open challenges, and then he's gonna get that surprise entrant. Maybe Brock Lesnar. Who knows? Well, I think he's definitely gonna do open challenges.
The Brock thing is always popping up, like, but I don't know when that's gonna happen or if that ever will happen. Brock's so expensive, and I don't think they want to spend money like that. Really,
I just hope that they don't do it too late. It is late. I mean, it is late, but I mean, late as in like these men are just tied out like Sting and Undertaker thing.
I don't think it's late now. It's also
it's not late now. Yeah, of course not. But I'm saying the thing was like, say what, 10 years, another 5 years or 10 years from now.
Nah, they won't.
Them are tired. Fam,
Bobby Lashley said it himself that like it's a race for him now. It's not a marathon because he's trying to retire like soon.
Yeah, Bobby Lashley he's knocking on. Like, even when he was fighting, he was in his like 40 when he finished fighting. Like that was years ago. So he's about 45 now. And Brock is in his early 40s.
So Brock's still got time. Let me know.
And Brock barely works, so his body's probably in a better shape than most people.
I know once they get into have a match, it's gonna be
brutal.
It's gonna be solid.
A lot of men say.
I would actually enjoy that.
Yes, can we talk about this Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar dream match? Because
sure,
I personally think this is gonna be a match of the decade, fam. Could personally be a match of the decade in terms of power, in terms of like 2 stars. Like it's a clash of the titans, right? Yeah. These are the guys that are the biggest guys in WWE. Like speaking, do you know what I mean? Physically, the biggest guys in WWE.
Okay.
The guys that've gone out and done other stuff, MMA, both been MMA fighters, both been champions, both came during the ruthless aggression era, right? And both came from. Did Bobby Lashley come from American?
He was a collegiate. He was a collegiate. Yeah,
they're both collegiate wrestlers.
Both done MMA. I think in terms of like when we always talk about the dream fights, I feel like for me this is probably the most realistic one. You know, we've always grown up on the like the Undertaker versus Stings and stuff like that. Yeah. We've always grown on them kind of stuff, but I think in terms of the one that could potentially happen, this is probably the closest that we can potentially get, and it can be amazing.
And WWE cannot drop the ball on this one.
They will.
And also Brock Lesnar has to be motivated. Like,
thank you.
Brock Lesnar has to be motivated.
That's another thing as well.
Do you know how crazy that is? The fact that this feud can be the best ever, But depending on how motivated he is, it can just.
You see this match here. This match is for me personally,
and there has to be good stakes in it as well. It can't just be like,
man,
in Saudi Arabia, these man just fight.
This man. Like this match basically levels up to like you see when you watch Mayweather versus what's my man called from the Philippines?
Pacquiao.
It's a Mayweather and Pacquiao fight for me, fam. It's a flipping Ali Joshua flipping what's his name? That's a Fury. I was going to Tom Fury.
Tom Fury.
Who's Tom Fury again?
The brother.
Oh, yeah. So you'll get wrapped.
Yeah, the guy was on Love Island.
Yeah, Love Island. You'll get wrapped. But, fam, that's the fight for me. This is a big fight talk, fam. Yeah. And the promo for that, the vignette that I must see before this match here has to be amazing. I want flipping WrestleMania 17 vibes, fam.
But hold on. I'm gonna. That isn't what they do. Like,
I'd
love a realistic build up. I don't watch WWE. I do check it out when someone says something's good, so I will do that. But like a match like this, I'll definitely check out. But with a nice sports realistic presentation would be good. That isn't what they do. There'll be a car crash or something like that. They'll have to spoil it somehow and get written promos in there or whatever, and have people say really silly things or whatever. It's like I'd love to. I'm surprised that fight didn't happen years ago in real life, because they were both fighting at the time. Yeah. And, Lashley wanted Brock. Brock would have fought Lashley, but Dana White at the time said that Lashley wasn't up to par, which to be fair, he probably wasn't. He would have.
Lashley was in Bellator at that time.
He was in Bellator and,
Lashley, he was doing bits there as well.
Lashley was never really.
But then again, if you're comparing like the competition in UFC to like Bellator, look at the type of people that Jake Hager's fighting. Like he's not really fighting like.
Jake Hager, he's not even lost yet.
He's undefeated. But if Jake Hager was to go to UFC,
he's fighting guys like me.
That's the top tier.
If you see the first person Jake Hager fought, he looked like a flipping truck driver. Like a truck driver. Do you know what I mean?
Lashley had two big wins. I say two big wins. He beat Bob Sapp, but everyone beats Bob Sapp, and he beat James Thompson years ago. But
and Bob Sapp hasn't been in his prime since the early 2000s.
Former
IWGP
champion. And you could argue he was never in his prime anyway.
He's a sleaze. The thing is with Bob Sapp here, I love Bob Sapp because he was a character. But in terms of like, but in terms of like work rate, yeah.
It's funny, I can't like.
Imagine.
No. I'm gonna defend Bob Sapp seriously.
I love Bob Sapp.
No.
I love it.
Hey, let's laugh about it, bro. I can't lie. Yeah. I find it funny, fam.
But when they used to say stuff like Ahmed Johnson would be clear if he could actually wrestle. Bob Sapp would be clear.
Wait. Man, I don't think Ahmed Johnson was a good wrestler.
Ahmed Johnson was rough.
He was hurting people.
Maybe I'm just remembering his finish all the time because I remember he did that finish when he sits down like that. But wait, was he not a good wrestler?
No. Ahmed Johnson wrestles like he's never been trained. He just jumped in the ring and vibes.
He always hurt himself and other people.
He hurt himself.
Maybe he's always taped up. It's like, because he banged himself over. Like,
I remember he got finished, but honestly got finished in a minute.
Ron Simmons beat him up.
What, in real life or?
Ron Simmons hated him. All right, and the first time Ron Simmons showed up on WWE TV with his little blue helmet or whatever, he kicked Ahmed right in the kidneys and cut his kidneys up. All right, and Ahmed gave him a receipt because with a 2x4, he done the same thing to Farouk. So one day at a house show, I think it was in Springfield, like he roughed up Farouk and like Ron Simmons banged him over like in front of a live audience.
That's
like,
nice, man.
Like proper banged him over. Like that's when Ahmed kind of, because he was supposed to be a bad dude, Ahmed Johnson, but Ron Simmons was like on the next
serious
level.
one.
Like, a lot of people talk about that story and they're like, wow, like Ron Simmons just obliterated this guy in front of our eyes or whatever. And he had nothing to him. Ahmed Johnson was I don't even think the wrestlers liked him either. He wasn't popular amongst the other wrestlers and he used to hurt them. You'd have to watch the matches because, everyone's got this thing as a kid, but go back and watch the matches, bro. Even when he wrestled like good people, he was bad. Like
if you look earlier on, like when the Nation was starting, their first feud was against Ahmed Johnson.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Bro, that nigga was like. The thing is, I like Ahmed Johnson because he's one of them people where it's like he's so like electrifying and he's got the energy about him.
He had the look at the time.
Yeah,
he had the whole
bad dude.
What's it?
The elbow pads.
Pads everywhere,
giving me Legion of Doom vibes.
Yeah.
He needed pads everywhere.
Do you know
what I mean? But yeah,
they had him body slam Yokozuna when he first showed. That was the first time he was on TV. He body slammed Yokozuna. They had. Yeah, the guy that Cowboy Bill Watts was running WWE at the time he was booking, and he loved to have black baby faces. He'd always build his company around black baby faces, and Vince got him in because Vince wanted his TV to be slick and he wanted it well run. So he was like, "We need this guy, big black guy," and he wanted to call him Buck. He didn't want to call him Ahmed.
Buck
Johnson.
So where did Ahmed come from then?
They wanted something more realistic, and in 1995, a black guy shouldn't be called Buck. But Cowboy was old, so yeah, they come up with that. But that's Cowboy Bill Watts was the one that gave him that initial start, because it was like, he could be world champion. Look at the size. It didn't matter if he couldn't work. He was just so big.
Yeah.
And Bill Watts had this thing. If you go back and look at UWF when Bill Watts was running the territories, he always had a black guy as his top star.
That's nice.
Because he wanted black people to come to the shows. Because black people have never really been pushed as top guys in any company, except for The Rock, and a lot of people don't even count him really.
Yeah, I didn't count him until a few years ago.
Yeah, until a few years ago.
Until he said, I'm black. So that's
only because WWE kept on presenting.
Yeah,
Samoa.
Yeah,
they did. It was only when he came out himself and said on Twitter, that's when I was like, okay, cool. Sorry for the stuff I said.
Yeah, it's not. You can probably count on one hand. The amount of black guys who've been pushed as like a top star in any company, really. And I'm talking about maybe before the modern era. Like, so, Junkyard Dog, when Bill Watts had Junkyard Dog, he was like the top guy, and he never had anyone help Junkyard Dog. It's like if Junkyard Dog was getting beaten up by 5 guys, Junkyard Dog would have to come back by himself, because he didn't want white people to help Junkyard Dog. He wanted blacks to think that JYD was his own man and he did everything by himself, whatever. And he was world champion too.
Yeah. Okay, I was talking in terms of WWE, but I know territories. Yeah.
Question: you see Junkyard Dog's running WWE. Mm-hmm. How was that? Because I remember I got to see Junkyard Dog through SmackDown. Here comes what game was it?
Is he on that game?
He runs a place.
He's on
in 06.
And he comes in a little ring thing, innit? And I didn't know who he was until obviously he got put in the Hall of Fame, innit?
He did. So his daughter.
Were you clued up with his run?
Yeah. So JYD, interesting. So he was a massive star. When I say he was a massive star, he was like top 5 babyfaces.
Who can you compare him to in terms of stardom?
I can't, because it's different now. It's totally different now. It's like nowadays, like you got your top stars, but the wrestling business is different now, because back then everything was decided. You were a draw depending on how many people you brought to the buildings. Okay. There was no network. There was no TV deals. It's like wrestling promoters had to buy TV. So JYD would sell out arenas on a nightly basis. And so
what territory was that?
Louisiana. So Bill Watts is Mid-South. So he was in that territory, and he was a top guy.
Under NWA, wasn't it?
It was under NWA, but it was Bill Watts had the UWFI territory. So Ric Flair would go through there as world champion, and he would nearly beat Ric Flair. But you had your UWFI, your Mid-South champion, and he was usually the guy in that picture. Yeah. But Vince stole him, because Vince was going national, and he wanted
coaching everyone.
He picked all the big
I'm sorry,
everyone.
I respect Vince. Vince is basically Real Madrid, Vince is basically Real Madrid. He's the guys at Real Madrid. He's the one that goes and said, I want Ronaldo, Messi, all of them come on one team.
That's what he did. But you know what he did, right? So he got a national TV with the USA Network, right? And his dad, before his dad died, he went around. He told Jim Crockett, he told Bill Watts, he told all the Fritz von Erich. He said, "My son isn't going to put you out of business. I promise you." And they believed him. And they believed him. I think he lied, because people always said, he's so honest, Vince Sr. I think he lied. He knew exactly what his son was going to do. And Vince called up the promoters and he said, "Look, I've got this national TV. You send me your tapes of all your top guys, and I'll put them on my show so everyone in America can see your guys." Yeah. So they were stupid, and they sent Vince the tapes. So he put on his TV, Junkyard Dog. He put on Hulk Hogan, Jesse Ventura. He put on the Von Erichs. He never got the Von Erichs. But
not till later. I mean, he got
Kerry. On programming, or what do you mean? Like, when you mean put them on, as in like
he put them on his show, All American Wrestling.
Okay.
All American Wrestling was a TV show, and he took the tapes and he put them on his WWF television show, and he says, this is a top star from Dallas, Kerry Von Erich, because he really wanted Kerry, and this is the top star from Louisiana, Junkyard Dog, because he really wanted JYD. So he poached them eventually, and Junkyard Dog was the number 2 babyface in the WWF for about a year and a half. And the reason he was Hulk Hogan's understudy, he would main event the B towns, because back then they had 3 towns. They had A, B, and C towns. Hogan was always in A. Then you had usually the IC belt in B, and then you had tag belts in C. And JYD was always main event in the B shows. And they trusted he was a big enough star to a point where he could fill up 12,000 seats in a building. At that time, and he did massive TV numbers as well. And he was so over. He was a charismatic guy. He was a terrible wrestler. And
that's nuts, man.
But his problem was that he was a drug addict. He was a crackhead.
I feel like that's
that word is so funny.
The downfall of a lot of wrestlers in that time period.
During that part, it's like back, bro.
But so wait, that whole change. So I remember he's coming with chains, right? The dog chain.
Yeah.
So the gimmick base is one. Is he one of the wrestlers where the gimmick became his? What's the word I'm looking for?
Became his lifestyle.
Similar to like
New Jack.
New Jack was the.
I don't know if
New Jack himself.
New Jack wasn't a character.
New Jack wasn't a character.
New Jack was just a character's name.
he was actually gimmick because he was actually himself being there, fam. So for example, who can I say?
You're talking someone like Ric Flair, where he ended up
Ric Flair and
portraying,
all that sort of stuff.
becoming the actual character.
Is he one of them guys or?
Nah, JYD was on TV. He was a really nice,
Never Hill
white meat baby face. Nah, he was a Stu Hart actually. Gave him his first break because Stu Hart really liked him. Like he's supposed to be a really nice guy, JYD, but he had a lot of money, and in Louisiana in that era he was a big star, like a massive star. So he got whatever he wanted, and by the time he got to WWF, and they were paying those guys, they were making so much money back then, and they were going to towns, parties, all those women and all that cocaine and stuff like that. You know, he just went crazy. Like a lot of guys, he went crazy, and he stopped showing up.
What's the events?
Yeah, he stopped showing up. He'd be in a main event.
Can we talk about that thing that Sam put in the group chat, please? That he put in the group chat about Sam.
Yeah, so he stopped showing up, and then eventually Vince was like, okay, I can't trust you anymore. So he kept him around for a bit until Dog got fat, and he just stopped showing up a lot. I'm not talking about one night a week or whatever. I'm talking about he'd show up. He wouldn't show up for 2 or 3 nights in a row. Because back then, they'd be on the road 20 days, go home for 4, go back on the road for another 30 days. It was like that. It wasn't like nowadays you go to TV on Monday, then you're back on
Friday.
Yeah, Friday. So, you know, it's back then it was just like, see you later, kids.
It's a circuit, yeah.
Circus, yeah.
So, you know, that's the story with JYD. So in his time, and you know what? After he got fired, he always had opportunities because WCW brought him in.
Yeah, I remember he was at WCW.
Yeah, but he was fat and he was totally messed up by that point. And then he died in 98. He died in 98. He had a car crash. But he was a big deal for that time period as far as black wrestlers go. He was like one of the few that they put in a position and be like, all right, cool, he's your main event. He's going to draw. Yeah. Like, you could say we wanted that Booker T, good wrestler, but he was never put in that position per se, you know?
I need to do my Googles and watch some documentaries on that still. Hopefully wrestling bios can hook me up. It's like,
you don't got to listen to wrestling bios.
That's the guy, man.
Put it on in the background, take it in
Yeah,
subconsciously.
I'll listen to it. But obviously there was a bit of chat in the group chat today regarding wrestlers of this modern day, and big up Sam. Well, Sam's not even on the podcast today. But Sam is not on the podcast. He's not really here today. He wasn't here today. Big up Versus as well and NK. He said something along the lines of, from what I remember,
he believes that wrestlers of today are more money motivated than actually becoming. I don't want to misquote him. Let me see what the actual thing was, because I don't want to misquote him. I don't want him to now come and shout at me saying, "Oh no, I didn't say that."
But yeah, the topic was quite.
Okay, cool. So the question is to everyone here: do you think wrestlers nowadays are more focused on being wrestlers or making money?
Yes and no. The reason why I say that is because there's certain wrestlers, they can get offered big contracts like from WWE and still say, you know what, I'm going to the independents. Or they can be with WWE, but then they're like, nah, this isn't it. I'm going to go to the indies, make less money, but, you know, my wrestling name's going to be popping even more. Like, Neville, for example, Pac.
Cody did it.
Cody did it. These lot all had big money deals and they just left it to go to the indies. And the money is not guaranteed there, innit? Yeah. But I'm just going to say yes and no. With certain people, they're like, I'm coming to WWE, the money's good. They literally say the money's good. And they don't mind whatever position they're put in, just as long as they're making money. Like, personally, Dolph Ziggler, he has to get put in that category. Because he's only staying there because he's making a meal now.
No, but if you do... Yes.
The money is good for Dolph Ziggler.
I feel like, unless, can I say that with that chat, unless if you've accomplished everything you need to accomplish in WWE, Dolph Ziggler,
Dolph is at a point where Dolph is a veteran, whether we like it or not.
He's a Mr. Miyagi. He's Mr. Miyagi.
Dolph is a veteran. If we're talking about, so for example, here's the context of the conversation. So Sam felt that wrestlers of today are only staying in WWE because of the money, as opposed to like because of their creative freedom. Whereas before, his example was Stone Cold. Stone Cold, HBK, Shawn Michaels. If they weren't happy with certain things creatively, they just won't show up. I tried to explain to him that it's very different nowadays. Like before, especially when it came to like wrestling contracts and wrestling companies, the prisoners were running the asylum. A lot of these wrestlers had ironclad. I want control of my creative. That's literally it. And also at the same time, their relationship with Vince is very different to wrestlers' relationship now.
You can't even chat to Vince now.
Vince McMahon knows now. There's no way in hell I'm letting you think that you can try and take over by having creative freedom. No, if you want to come on, you're going to get your bread. And we're going to have some sort of discourse where if I like you and we've got a grown relationship, then yeah, maybe you can kind of pitch stuff to me. Other than that, if you don't like it, catering is over there. There's free fish fingers, there's free rice, there's free jerk chicken, there's free salad. Guy chop, he's here.
Crazy.
Well, for me personally, is that like you said, times have changed, man. No, you can't really come to Vince. You can't even talk to Vince no more. For you to talk to Vince, you got to talk to someone else. That's when to talk to someone else. And even for you to have a no show in WWE,
oh, you're gone.
I'm sorry, but that blacklist you. No matter how tough the circumstances, in wrestling at that moment. Like, you get blacklisted from every single company. Like, you think, okay, cool, you don't show up, you can turn up at AEW. No, they probably think you do the same thing to them.
Bro, even look at it, someone like Pac as well. Pac tried to leave WWE. They ended up saying, listen, the amount of times you don't come, we're going to extend your contracts because you're breaching your contract.
That's what I was going to say.
So if you now decide I'm not coming for a year, WWE can now say to you, listen, we're adding extra time on your contract.
Another thing as well is that the contracts are more longer nowadays. Am I lying, guys?
They 3 to 5 years.
The contracts are more longer nowadays, so you can't just pick up one day and say, after 3 years, I'm done, man. I can't do this no more.
It's because they know of the competition that's outside. They know that there's greener grass on the other side than had WWE. Because before WWE was the pinnacle, now they know that the grass is greener over there now.
Yeah. But if the grass is greener, then you should have. I don't know. It's I'm not a wrestler, so I can't really talk about the whole money situation in it, but I'm saying in terms of like...
If we're being honest, you had the Good Brothers, and they literally said, yes, we had the biggest payday in WWE, but we wanted to leave anyway.
But that's when they wait out their contract. What Sam's saying is that if they're not happy with what's happening, they should walk out.
Okay.
You can't do that.
They can't. The thing is, with Sam, I said to Sam, you like money yourself. Like, it's all well and good wanting people to be rebels and to just up and leave. But like you said, not everybody even has the opportunity to be the top guy. Not everybody, like, because let's be for real. Let's say for example,
layman terms, not everyone can be Undertaker.
You know what I'm saying? Let's say for example, we're all part of a company. We're all part of a wrestling company. There's 4 of us. And we all now decided, listen, I want my creative to now go forward. If we now all decide, I want to be WWE champion, who would now be the one to lose? Who would now be the one to be mid-card champion? Who would now... It doesn't make sense. Not everybody can be at top of the card or have creative control. It makes sense that, listen, of course, as a fan, it's not right. Sometimes we want to see some of our faves be at the top or have good opportunity. But at the end of the day, this person is getting paid well, and they're under the hope that maybe in a few months' time or a year's time, that I've got this 5-year contract, something may happen with me. It might not happen now, but it's going to happen at some time.
Let's be honest, another thing as well that we need to deep as well, that with WWE or wrestling, I say, with WWE, everything's about moments. So for example, if you have a moment, they can ride with it for a bit. If the fans catch on to it, they'll ride with it for longer. But it's all about moments, so it's just one of the things where if it happens, it happens. But I think what Sam was also saying in the group was that they have to force the moment. You can't force the moment with WWE. Is that me coming out? Is that okay? For example, say if Ricochet wanted to get put over, man's expecting Ricochet to come out with no pants every day. Show his thing. I was like, Ricochet, it doesn't work like that, bro. You got like, come on, man.
Like, that's why even when because when the whole comparison with the Attitude Era and whatnot, I hate it so much because my thing is just like what I was trying to explain to him is like it's easy to say that so and so from the Attitude Era could survive now because we've seen what they can do in the Attitude Era. Why would we now put someone in this era in the Attitude Era? It doesn't make sense. And let's be real, like you said, in wrestling, it's moments. Really and truly, a lot of the people that end up blowing, it's not by design, it's by mistake. It just happens.
Organic.
It's organic. You know what I'm saying? Who knew that the Stone Cold 316 was going to blow? Nobody knew.
No one.
That was just something he said.
That's just something he said. And he spoke about it on the podcast, like, listen, it's just something I thought of right before the match.
He went to think.
Yeah, went to chat to it. Jake the Snake,
They gave him the layup. You know what I mean?
So, a lot of the stuff that happens in wrestling, like look at what's it called, Triple H's interview with JR when he's talking about I'm the game, talking about that interview that he done before he became the actual game.
I remember.
It was, I think it was like 99.
99. Yeah, I remember. That.
And it was when he was like, it was like a sit down interview, and this was when he was more or less en route to his like main event pushing it. Yeah. And he's just talking about how what's it called? They talk about this person in this game, this person in the game, but I am the game, and then it just kicked off the game. Like all of this stuff happens by mistake.
Was that back in the day when JIC did them interviews backstage? And
and they sit down.
I missed that shit.
He's doing it on AEW.
Yeah.
You doing AEW.
I was playing Smackdown, shut your mouth, and they do it in the game as well.
You did Michael Cole as well.
Yeah.
Oh shit. That's hilarious, man.
You know, wrestlers nowadays, you can't really just say, "Oh, all wrestlers care about money." It's just, obviously it's a case by case basis. But I'll say this: wrestlers nowadays work way more harder now than they did back then. Like
100%.
For a lot, like especially on the indie guys, for a lot less money. Those guys grew up as wrestling fans. The wrestlers that we grew up with back in the day, they didn't really grow up as wrestling fans.
A lot of them grew up as bodybuilders.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah.
A lot of them did nothing. It's like, you know,
thingy.
Yeah, watch some of those guys on your 80s or 90s WWE television. They literally went out there and did nothing, like, and they got their money, and it's cool for them. That's cool. That's what match quality. Some people isn't that important, but these guys, they go out there and they'll bust their ass for a small amount of money. You know,
for real.
So you know, it's like you said, Cody left. Park left. Some things are just more important than getting a guaranteed check from WWE. But then, you know, look at the guys in WWE now. A lot of them are happy to be there because it's WWE. Yeah. And those guys that they pick up from wherever, you know, bodybuilder or strongman competitions that don't know anything about pro wrestling, all they know is WWE, they're happy to be there. The thought of going to anywhere else is scary to them because they think that's beneath them. While some guys in WWE, you know, like Ricochet, I can imagine Ricochet being there and thinking, if they get rid of me, cool.
Yeah, I'll move on to
I know I can get a job in AEW tomorrow.
Quick.
Yeah. I can go back to New Japan. I can do this. Quick. While a guy like Strowman, when he was working, said, I'm never working anywhere else. That's beneath me, sort of thing. It's like, you know, the thought of him going, potentially going.
Mezzop, man.
The thought of him going to AEW to him might be like, oh my God, you know, like.
What do I do now?
Blood and guts, you know, that kind of. I want to go to that. Vince told me it's a blood and guts, you know, sideshow sort of thing. So, yeah, it's a case by case basis, but. You know, wrestlers nowadays, they're genuinely a lot better now than they ever were at any point in history. You know, and obviously we had great wrestlers back then, but as far as the amount of good wrestlers nowadays,
there's way more now.
Way more. You know, obviously the guys back then could cut better promos, but, you know.
That's
they'll better speakers, man.
Yeah. I mean, you got good guys now that can talk, but the majority of them.
Just workers as opposed to, like, the overall. I mean, do you think that's a detriment to wrestling, though? More people are more concerned about, because obviously a lot of them, they're not in front of the TV. They're more or less doing like indie shows, so they don't really have the chance to work on the character. It's just more so in ring work.
I think it depends what you're watching the wrestling for. Yeah, because a lot of guys watch it for, you know, storyline, work.
Yeah,
and some guys watch it for the sport itself. And I think there's a lot of guys that do watch it for the sport itself. Yeah. Me personally, I watch it for the other way around, the storyline and stuff. If the storyline doesn't hit as much, then I'm not gonna. If the promos and stuff don't hit as much, I'm not gonna find interest in it. But if they have a good match, it could sometimes sway me towards that. But it depends, innit? But it is important for the wrestlers to have both. Yeah, I say.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We had that chat about Kenny Omega a couple episodes ago, but
yeah, I saw it. I'm a big Kenny Omega fan. Like, you know, promos are still a big part of wrestling. It's like you watch that AEW show and you see these guys going out there, and like Moxley will do his promos or Kingston. You don't need a 15-minute monologue, a scripted monologue. You don't need to remember 15 minutes worth of content. All you need is 2 minutes. That's all guys need. That's all they had back in the day, really. It's like, you know, Ric Flair never went out and done 15-minute monologues or whatever, you know, waiting for a guy's music to interrupt him and all that stuff. It's like, to me, that's one of the big problems where I disconnect with WWE, because it comes across as so contrived. You know, it's like people talk about Roman Reigns and the stuff that he's doing, and I watch bits of it, and he constantly refers to his family, like the Usos, as his cousins. My cousin Jimmy, my cousin Jay. They refer to each other as my brother Jimmy, my brother Jay, and that takes me out.
Nobody speaks like that.
You ever heard Matt and Nick Jackson say that to each other or whatever? It's just so.
I didn't even look at it like that.
You know, Heyman's in the back doing his faces and stuff.
It's
just like is this the same all the time? Like, you know, it's like, I'm not knocking him because I love Heyman, but like, to me, this pulls me out.
You're not feeling the Roman Reigns Tribal Chief?
I think I've always liked Roman Reigns. I think he's a really talented guy. You know, but it's not even him. I think it's more so the stuff that I see people overrating it a bit too much, saying that it's the best thing ever. And it's like, I watch it and it's like,
I wouldn't say it's the best thing, but I think it's like,
it's better than Omega.
We've been waiting, like we said a couple of podcasts ago, we've been waiting years for this. We saw Roman do this at some Fox behind the scenes event. stuff like that, and we sort of give a bit of attitude then. But now what we're getting is what we wish for.
Boy, do you know what? I feel like for it to reach its full potential, you have to take away the scripted promos, man. Because remember that Fox interview? He done it on the fly. He improvised, and it was the best promo ever.
I saw it.
That was the best modern day promo coming from Roman Reigns.
It's gonna take a while for him to. Tell you what, man. Like once you're in that system, and that's just what you know. Pulling that away from something. Look at Miro, like Rusev when he first showed up. That guy showed up, and you watch his early matches. He had no idea what was going on.
He had nothing.
Because it's like he was in an environment where they laid the matches out for him, and he's now in a position where it's like, all right, so what are we gonna do? And it's like, oh, so you watch those early matches, and he looks like he's just out to lunch. He doesn't know what's going on. Yeah. How long did it take for him to get comfortable in that position? Now you watch him, and he knows exactly who he is and what he wants to say and everything else. But it's going to take a while, like, you know, to just pull that script away from guys, because that's just what they do in WWE. It's like, you know, you can't. It's like we tell you who you are, and this is what you'd say, sort of thing. And not a lot of guys have the power or even have the energy or the balls to say, I ain't saying that. You know, like, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Unless you're Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar ain't saying it.
He doesn't have to say it.
He wouldn't have to say it. No, he wouldn't do it. You know, that's the problem with Vince McMahon back in the day. He was always like, I think Vince McMahon, what he's got now in terms of no one second guessing him or no one being rude to him, or I think he's always wanted that.
Oh, it's the peace and community. Like, nothing. No.
Do you remember when Titus pulled him on the stage that time, and he got
was that even a pull though?
Like,
he just he got sacked, not sacked, he got like
suspended.
Yeah. They're gonna give him 90 days, and
90 days, bro.
Let's cut it down. The backlash is too much.
90 days.
Man. That was a bit mad.
Like back in the day when guys like Piper and all that were telling him to fuck off, and
so
get away from me. I'm not doing that. You know, it's like, you need to lose to this guy. Fuck you.
No, but I'm sorry, but a lot of these old wrestlers were like, they were wrongins, man. Like, you listen back to their stories, that Piper used to beef man in the car park and stuff. So like, I wouldn't want to try and fight, man, fam. Like, even like what Jake the Snake or these man, like, come on, man.
Fam, Jake the Snake was bringing live snakes to the ring, letting it bite people. Man. These are all rolling around with shanks, guns, everything. Like,
and these men will proudly say it like, oh yeah, in my changing we had guns and knives and grenade bombs.
Good times.
Trust me, good times.
Like
imagine we walk into a change room and see someone with a shank. I'm saying, yeah, I'm out. Yo, WCW sign me.
Roddy Piper was a madman. I've heard so many Roddy Piper stories. Like, he was supposed to be a really, like, well, you'd hear him on TV or whatever, kind of slightly racist still.
I heard,
like, Bad News Allen.
Yeah, but the half.
Yeah, Bad News Allen. He was supposed to put him over at WrestleMania when Piper came out half black.
Was that actually part of? Was he actually trying to say something with that? Or was that just? What?
You could debate. Bad News thought he was,
because no one said anything, and they even had figures. There's even action figures of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Google it, bro. You'll see it. Even action figures. I saw it like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
I saw it on Clubhouse. Funny enough. So.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Bad News. I'm not fucking losing to this guy. Like, he's half like after what he's doing, I'm not losing to him or whatever. It's like Bad News Allen wasn't gonna do that stuff for anybody. He beat Vince McMahon up.
Who?
Bad News beat up Vince. That's when he left. That's why he left.
Vince he's been through a lot.
It's like
he's been for a lot, innit?
It's like when you talk about
Vince too.
When you talk about Vince in the 90s and 80s, it's like he was a victim.
Nah, Vince, you know Vince, yeah? Vince is basically Scarface, you know. I don't know how he lives another day.
Now, Vince is one of the man where it's just like, you know what? The money's money, and so let me just take what I'm taking in it, because at the end of the day, you man are going to be gone soon. So let me just. I feel like Vince knew that these men are snorting coke, they're taking all these drugs. So he's like, listen, you can punch me up, it's fine. Your days are numbered. That's literally your days are numbered.
You know, do you know back in the day there was this doctor called George Sahorian, and he was he's worked for New Jersey. And when they used to do shows in New Jersey, he was always the assigned doctor to come to the shows. And he would set up a table backstage, and the guys would line up, and he would sell them drugs. So he'd sell them the steroids, and he'd sell them the pain pills and stuff. And one of his customers was Vince McMahon. And Vince would buy the stuff off him, back then. Zahorian was one of the big drug doctors of that time. And that's when Vince got indicted, because he was going to go to jail over that stuff. And Zahorian was the reason why.
Is that when Hogan left the backstage and the thing was leaking out? There's a story, you heard about that? They'll get him steroids.
I've heard a lot of stories about Hogan and
Hogan was getting steroids in him after the feds run up in there. I don't know. After he's running out the back door and the steroid thing just coming out of his arm.
I don't know. That's why Hogan left in '92 though.
And he came back and it was mad slim.
He left because he wanted the heat to die down, and he got off. When he came back, he was really athletic looking. He got off because
he looked good though.
Yeah, he looked great. But Vince wanted everyone to get off at that time because the heat was coming down. He knew he was going to get indicted, so he resigned.
It's like wrestling was a criminal enterprise.
It was, bro. Like
sexual misconduct.
Yes, we real here. A lot of men will say, "Oh yeah, that was the best times of wrestling," but these men were getting away with a lot of madness, you know,
bruv. Man, them were getting away with murder.
And a lot of wrestlers
attempted murder.
Was already died in the locker room. Like, fam, imagine you hearing about a wrestler getting stabbed up in the locker room in this day and age.
That's what I'm saying. Man, them are getting away with murder, attempted robbery, kidnapping.
You beat up guys in
racketeering, everything.
Yeah, drug dealing.
Trust me, man. That's true.
Wrestling was a criminal enterprise, fam.
But yeah, I was going to talk about Stardom quickly because I know NK had something about Stardom.
Oh man!
Oh yeah, there was a dope match that happened. Someone even we can even get into Ask Wrestlings. There's quite a lot in it. So let's get into Ask Wrestlings. Someone even asked that. This is Ask Wrestlings, where we get you, the people, to ask Ask Wrestlings some amazing questions. And I won't lie, you guys did not disappoint this year. I mean, this week. This week. The first question is from our guy Joey Essence. Big you up every single time. He says the Cruiserweight Classic was so ahead of its time. In my opinion, Cedric versus Ibushi is one of my favorite matches of the last decade. If WWE were to have another one, what wrestlers would you like them to bring in from the world of wrestling to compete?
It's a bit of a myth, but if they can get Rey Fénix,
that would be dope. Danny Limelight.
Phantasma.
Danny Limelight's not on the contract at AEW, so
yeah, he's not on the contract.
Yeah. I thought he signed. He's not all elite.
I think
he's not signed.
I see so many guys with that all elite.
Yeah, he's not signed. He's only signed to New Japan.
Yeah, he's a New Japan strong.
Yeah, so he's signed to New Japan strong. Not all elite. He's not. Yeah, he's not smart. Just what's mad? A lot of wrestlers are not actually signed to all elite. They're just on payroll. That's literally it. Yeah, they're not like officially like all elite wrestlers.
If those guys available,
that's how a lot of them lose.
Yeah,
that's how a lot of them just get beat.
I don't know who's available. Amazing Red, I think, is available. You could do it.
Amazing Red would be dope.
That'd be a sick.
Michael Oku, no, because he doesn't have a deal with them. I don't know. Everyone's really tied up.
It's thing like not cruiserweight, but is he like? Do you know Dragunov?
I think he would be. He looks like it. He looks small.
They could get him. I think he works for them, doesn't he? So so
that'd be dope.
They get loads of guys from the UK and just do that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really what they are interested in doing right now.
They want to get that.
They don't care about their cruiserweight title.
There's a guy on cruiserweight called Wale or something. Australian guy who wears that boxing pants. He looks like a boxer.
What's his name?
He was on 205 this week. Whaler.
You watched 205?
Watched it by accident.
I tried to watch it. I watch it here and there.
I was watching WWE Network. I left it on in it and I've come back to the sitting room and it's on. There's a guy called Whaler's on it.
Whaler.
What? Let me find his name, bro.
Is he white guy? That has blonde hair.
Yeah, and he wears boxing.
I forgot they even made that show.
I'm not too sure.
Let me find it. 205 live. Bro, what? Matty Wahlberg.
Matty Wahlberg.
He changed his name to what's his name now? Oh, shit, bro. This guy.
I can't even lie.
Yeah, his name is there. So his name is called Grayson Whaler.
Grayson Whaler.
You know heard of him? No. Bro, when I saw him, I was like, who the hell is this guy, bro?
Show me a proper picture of him.
Moving like a cruiserweight.
No, he looked like a created character on WWE. I'm not even prying. Like, he's even checked. His new costume's not even on here.
Let me see.
Yeah, look. He dressed like a boxer.
That's my first time seeing him. Oh, I did see him, but I don't.
He's wearing gold. He's wearing gold.
I don't know if I.
He's just like a boxer. He looks like
just like a 2K character.
Yeah, he looks like a 2K character. Looks like Lee from flipping Tekken, bro.
The next question from our guy Bill Ritter, big him up. He asked, haven't heard about or from Bryan Danielson in weeks. Where and when do we see him again?
SummerSlam or Survivor Series?
You think he's staying, yeah?
Oh, myth.
You think he's staying?
Sorry, bro.
Remember our discussion about wrestlers and money, yeah? He's staying for the money. He's got that good retirement plan.
His wife has got that good retirement plan. She's set for life.
She still works there.
And also, you have to remember,
she's still on the contract.
Yeah, ambassador, yeah.
But she's also got the E money as well, innit?
Yeah, they cancelled that.
They cancelled that show.
Total Bellas cancelled. When?
Oh, Total Bellas. Oh, I thought.
No,
was it cancelled?
That's done. Yeah,
What?
they don't want to do
Total
it
Bellas
anymore.
is cancelled.
Yeah, they don't want to do it anymore.
And he's not dumb. They're raking in peace from that, fam.
They don't want to. They both said that they want their kids growing up on television. So,
Fair. I respect that. But they're getting residual income. They're getting probably like TV.
Oh yeah, because that show is.
That's going to be
that show's on every day.
But I respect the whole child thing. That makes sense. So.
The thing is, when you say that he's the money, but you have to also remember Daniel Bryan's like a wrestler's wrestler. Like he's passionate about wrestling.
He don't spend money.
Yeah, he's passionate about the wrestling, and I'm sure there's loads of like. Even when when he initially retired, and the Cruiserweight Classic, he was talking about all these different wrestlers he wants to wrestle. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you where he is. If he signs up, like Samoa Joe re-signed, so who knows what you know what I'm saying?
I could see him being like Moxley though, and just
working everywhere.
I think he's gonna. I'm gonna say it, and I think he's gonna go to AEW with that loose deal where you can go work for New Japan and he can go to Mexico, wherever he wants to go. I think, you know what? I'm gonna say I think we're gonna see him in New York.
That's a shout.
Someone asked a question about that. Funny enough, what big star you think is gonna come out of New York? I think Gigi asked that question, so that might be the answer to that. Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't be either him or Aleister Black. I don't know for some reason I feel like Aleister
Black, right? Because I read that.
I wouldn't even be surprised.
I was thinking Braun Strowman, you know.
Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I don't see it because apparently Big Show.
Mark Henry's been trying to get Braun Strowman in.
I don't think that fan base want to see Braun Strowman.
It'll be bad.
He's gonna get beat.
Bad as in horrendous. Like, I just don't think that'll work. I think Tony Khan is too smart to do that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying go get a job and do whatever, but I just don't think it suits. I'm an AEW fan. I don't want to see Braun Strowman. It's not what I watch AEW for.
Yeah.
Listen, Braun and Impact Wrestling. It's written on the wall.
He needs to go New Japan. I'm so sorry. He needs to go New Japan. He needs to go New Japan. He needs to go New Japan. The thing is,
they give him a shot because they want big guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether or not
it works.
Fam, I said it. When I said it, I was showing West.
It works, fam. Impact. Right now, I can't judge Impact because there's no crowd. Like, I'm so tired of looking at Impact, and just looking at it. Like, once the crowd comes back, then maybe I can kind of have an idea of, like, okay, cool, he could probably go there. And Impact is stacked as it is already.
I understand. Why doesn't Impact just do what NXT does? Like,
I know.
That's what I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. It's the crowd noises that piss me off about Impact. Yeah. It annoys me so much.
Have your guy standing there making noise like it's so stale. Like.
Our guy Mex, WrestleManiac UK, he asked, assuming Karrion Kross moves to the main roster after SummerSlam, what brand should he be on and who should his first feud be with?
I hate to say this, but he's got Raw, man.
Yeah, Raw's written for him still.
And first feud,
I think maybe Randy Orton.
That's a good. That's
right.
That's good. Yeah.
I think Randy Orton.
He's Mr. Miyagi at the moment, so it makes sense. And Randy Orton, no, he's to go through the whole thing. So Dolph Ziggler, Randy Orton, the cereal. Then who's the last one? There's one more person I forgot.
Probably Edge or something. Go through the whole ruthless aggression.
Ray, you just said Ray. They like to give. They like to feed Ray to guys.
Just me.
I think Rey Mysterio will be a sick feud. Yeah. That'll be a sick feud.
Ray will make him look good too. I think Karrion Kross is that good. Overall, but
he's been alright.
He's a talented guy, don't get me wrong, but it's like Ray would sort him out.
I like him. He's a beast.
You're a big fan of him, fam.
Yeah, fam.
I like Karrion Kross. I just don't want to see him on NXT anymore against people the people that he's facing are exposing him for not being that great of a wrestler.
I hear what you're saying. He doesn't have like the same athleticism as the other guys, innit? Yeah. So the main roster is a perfect fit for him.
Fam, even especially at In Your House when I think there was him and Kyle O'Reilly were exchanging moves with each other, and the commentators were like, "Oh yeah, Karrion Kross is his MMA background," and I said, "Bro, you can't even see. I can't I can't see it. Mezzop." You know what I'm saying?
He's too much of a powerhouse. He has to be on the main.
And the thing is, I know he does have MMA background, but my thing is, it's like for you to have an MMA background, it has to look strong. He doesn't. A lot of the moves he doesn't look strong, especially when he does like his clotheslines and his kicks. It doesn't look strong to me. So
he needs to get a bit more in that clothesline.
Just kick them, fuck if you hurt them.
Yeah, that's it.
He probably wants you to kick him.
Yeah.
Because when I first saw Karrion Kross, I thought he was going to be like this psycho. Do you know what I mean? Like
that's what I thought.
And I think I need more psycho for him. I need psycho needs to be turned up a bit more when he goes to the main roster. Needs to be like someone. Oh shit, Karrion Kross is coming. He's gonna break your neck.
He's a Vince guy though. Like,
yes.
Because I watch him and his face, and because Vince likes facial expressions. That's why I always say Brian Cage, as big as he is, Brian Cage wrestles
He's useless.
Yeah,
Useless
like,
man.
yeah,
Useless man.
He's got Freddy face.
Right, I think he's really good.
He's amazing, but he's a useless man.
If Vince got him, he's the guy that Vince will be like, you know, he'd be super frustrated.
He'd be like Ricochet. He'd literally be like Ricochet.
You know, he'd think, oh, I got this big guy, and then it's like, but, show me your face, show me how you feel. And Brian Cage.
Puke! I want to see you puke! Our guy, Mr. Frimpong, big him up every single time. He asked, why do you think people haven't cancelled Vince the way others have been? Seems everyone turns a blind eye to his madness because of what he's done for wrestling.
Is that
too powerful,
Vince said from the get-go, man, he said the Vince character. Okay, this is going to sound like I'm enabling my man, innit? Okay, hear me out. He said the Vince character is different from Vince McMahon himself. So everything he does is a character. So when you're watching it, just imagine you're watching a film. Or for example, you're seeing like Leonardo DiCaprio act as a racist in a film. That's different from Leonardo.
Bro, I'm not going to lie to you. WWE is La Cosa Nostra. That place is that's literally a mafia. He's getting away with everything because he's a mafia boss.
And I've been twanked. I'm twanked. I watch it every week. And I'm sorry, guys. I've been brainwashed. I've had some of the WWE juice from years. I've been drinking from the same WWE juice from years. I can't run away. I can't run away from it. I'm sorry, guys. And you guys have also drank from it.
It's part of his diet.
I was a big WWE fan growing up, so I love WWE.
Fam, trust me, you ate from the ball. Everyone's ate from it, fam.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean, fam? So
I think Vince gets an allowance because he's in pro wrestling. I think if he was in something else, if he
was in football, he would have been gone.
He'd been gone ages ago.
Gone.
He'd probably be in jail.
Yeah. Seb Blatter thing, fam.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if I don't know, the guy who ran Manchester United was, you know, allowing his guys to do drugs and take steroids or whatever and did nothing about it, and he was doing it with them. Like that would be a massive story. But Vince did it. It's pro wrestling. It's like,
is that because pro wrestling is not as okay? Cool. In terms of sports, it's not much of a big sport compared to like the footballs or the basketballs.
It's had its moments. Like in the late '80s, it was a big deal when Hogan was on top, and then when Austin and Rock were on top, it was huge. Like, I mean, they did massive numbers, bigger than Monday Night Football at times. But I think that a lot of people just think pro wrestling's a joke. So
that's it.
You know,
that's it. It's not real. It's not real.
It's not real. So it doesn't matter. It's like even when Vince was going through the stuff with the underage boys when Jesus.
Wait, what? Oh, bro, don't do this to me.
No. Breaking news. What?
You're about to make me cancel Vince right now.
No, not Vince. Vince didn't do it.
Who done
Vince did it? All right, so was fruit. All right, so
I've heard this.
In the late 80s,
was it Pat Patterson?
Why did you have to wait this long for you to say that? As soon as you done the intro, you should have said it.
I'm sorry. In the late 80s and early 90s, there was guys that worked for WWE that had reputations for molesting little boys. And back in the day, they don't do it now, they can never do it now, but back in the day, they'd get little boys and kids from charities to come and hang around the wrestlers and set the rings up. They were called ring boys. They would run errands, go get this. You know, you see them at TV when you know, hang around the ring to give the kid the ring jacket, and he'd go to the back with the ring jacket. So there were guys that worked in the company at the time that had reputations for molesting these children. One of them was Mel Phillips, who was the Black Ring announcer that you probably remember when you was a kid. Like, he used to do Challenge and Superstars and stuff like that. And, you know, he was the main one, and he had a thing about, you know, with kids' feet, you know, and all sorts of stuff. But the story is that a lot of people knew about it, and they let it happen. And Vince was one of the guys that people always said knew about it, and they let it happen. It wasn't only him; there was a few others. Pat Patterson's name was brought into it.
Yeah,
you know what's actually mad about this? Yeah, I just saw a video on YouTube about it, and some guy's wearing a hat and he's speaking about it.
Really?
And I just look, this kid here.
Tom Cole.
Someone put on the timeline and said, "Why is no one not talking about this?" And I didn't think nothing of it. I just saw the thing and I saved it as a thing to come and watch it later. And I didn't come and watch
it. Vince McMahon on Donahue, on the Donahue show with Dave Meltzer. Like, they were on it for an hour,
talking about the whole thing,
going on about that whole thing. And listen, when you watch it, watch the audience's reaction to what's going on. It's a joke because pro wrestling. Kids are being molested, but it's fake. It's like, you know, that's their mentality. So when you got people like that, when you got all these guys dropping dead at the age of 40, if that was any other business,
it would have been a complete overhaul of the whole business. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. So that's what I think anyway.
Yeah, no, definitely. Our guy Gareth, he asked, what huge match would you like to see main event AEW's big show in the tennis stadium?
Jesus.
Adam Page versus Ken. No, that's too soon. So? I think that's too.
I was thinking Adam Page versus Kenny Omega.
I think when's the
I think it's like September, August.
That's enough time.
Second September.
That's enough time.
Yeah, we've got enough time to build it. Yeah.
You think he's going to beat Kenny?
I think he has to. I think the way the story's going, they're both in a place where I feel like they both seem very insecure and they're still trying to find themselves.
Kenny's major insecure.
Yeah.
Like,
But then
both of them are.
both of them, and Adam still has this asterisk over his head of like, can you beat me last time? So
He don't want to talk about it.
he doesn't want to talk about it. Yeah, every time Kenny's name gets brought up, he's just shying away from it.
So this belt collector thing is done then.
Is that?
The belt collector thing.
I wouldn't say it's done, but then it's like there's no real like I don't know what's going on with it. Yeah,
I think the belt collector thing has suffered because the match that they want to do is Ibushi against Omega, and that can't happen because of COVID, and also
and
obviously
Ibushi lost as well.
Yeah, you know, and a Carter against Omega. Those are the belt because they wanted to do that match, and I remember hearing ages ago that they wanted Omega at the Tokyo Dome next year. But I don't know if that's going to happen. So. You know, the whole belt collector thing, been kind of disappointed with it because I didn't really think I saw a lot of it on AEW as much as I wanted to. I mean, he comes out and he's got belts, but I don't really think that they did as much with it. I think it's a big deal. It could have been a big deal.
Honestly, do you know what it is? Because I've said this to people as well. It's like as much as people like have this like downer on Impact, but it's still a major company at the end of the day. They've been about for nearly 20 years now. You get what I'm saying?
They're part of the top 3.
They're part of the top 3. Do you know what I mean?
They were top
it should have
2,
been a big deal, but apparently, I'm guessing maybe because of network contractual issues, TNT not wanting them to advertise the Impact belt as much. That's why he wasn't really holding it on AEW apart from their pay-per-view.
Nakazawa was holding it on T. Anderson and Gallows had a tag belts, but I mean, to be fair, they're Impact guys, aren't they? So
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so
Miro and Kingston is one.
That would be sick. Yeah,
I
I've
think
seen-
that'd be
yeah.
crazy, atmosphere-wise.
yeah, honestly, that would be dope.
And if he wins in the city, that would be sick.
He'd have to win though.
Yeah.
He'd have to win. I don't know if Miro.
Other than
months away.
other than those 2 matches, I can't really think of anything else.
Eddie Kingston's theme song. I'll forget you.
They need to buy him, son. I'm thinking
he
they're
They
gonna
need to give him a DMX
He needs to
tribute.
achieve it.
Yeah, DMX thing.
That's instrumental. That's instrumental. That's instrumental.
It will work. It'll work. He's got that New York swagger, Timberland boots, kick you in the face.
He needs a
kinda
Griselda
style,
type of
you
beat.
know what I'm saying?
Griselda sort of.
They'll buy him, son. 100%. Like,
Our next question from another question from Gareth. He asked, if you had to select 3 UK wrestlers to represent England in the Wrestling World Cup, all from different companies, who would you pick?
Pac,
Osprey.
Dunn, and Osprey.
That's not a shout. That's a shout. I'll probably have Pac, Zack Sabre Jr. and maybe Pete Dunne.
Is that inside the whole of ever? Dead or wait?
Tyler Bates really good.
Tired of?
How can I forget Tyler Bate? I'd have Tyler Bate over Pete Dunne.
I know people don't bring him up, but Marty Scurll.
Oh yeah,
I
forgot this guy's even from.
I forgot. He's
I
just,
never
forget about
watched
him.
wrestle, you know.
I swear, he's alright. I mean, the thing is, with Marty Scurll, he's okay. Like, he's not as like excellent as
He's not.
He's
I've
like-
seen him wrestle live so many times.
I've seen him wrestle live.
Super charismatic.
He's okay. Yeah, he's just a charismatic guy. But I think some of his best matches are probably with Will Ospreay. Yeah, that's his best opponent. Yeah,
I saw them wrestle.
no, in Rev Pro,
I saw
they've had like a few like series.
loads.
Yeah,
I saw him wrestle once in front of 100 people, bro, for like 45 minutes. It's probably the best match I've ever seen live.
but I think I mean Trent Seven's better than Marty Scurll. There's so many people I'd put in front of Marty Scurll anyway. So
I hear that.
Trent Seven's real good.
Trent Seven's amazing. Real good.
I think for me, I'll pick Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr. and Paul Robinson.
Paul Robinson.
I love Paul Robinson.
That
You know
guy,
Paul Robinson. He was Will Ospreay's tag team partner.
Yeah, he's tapped.
The crazy.
He's tapped.
mad.
He's amazing.
Did you say just UK?
Yeah, UK. Yeah. Well, I mean, we could quickly do other countries.
Prince
Devitt.
From music,
He's
Irish.
Irish. Yeah.
British or just UK? Because
You just say UK.
Oh, yeah,
Well, if we do in America-
Drew's from up the road, no?
Drew.
Yeah, Drew. Yeah, Drew could put. You could put Drew in.
Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, Scotland, isn't it? UK.
But
If you wanted to stretch it,
but Ireland's part of UK. Is Ireland not part of UK? When it's Team GB,
Me, I was not born here, so I don't know. I don't know about it. I don't know what to say.
when it's the
This is
Olympics,
not my
yeah, don't
father's
have
land.
Irish people part of the GB.
Nah.
You sure? Ireland comes out by himself.
Ireland is Republic of Ireland. It's by itself. I don't know where. I don't know. Me, I'm not from here. I wasn't born here.
Britain, Scotland, and all that is part of that.
And even Ireland.
Oh, so what's UK? UK is England and Wales.
England, Wales, and Scotland.
Scotland, United Kingdom.
Wait, Scotland, United Kingdom.
Okay, wait.
Oh,
The United Kingdom is England, Wales, and Scotland.
And that's one.
I don't think Scotland is part of UK.
No, as the United Kingdom.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
I don't. I know what
Facts
I'm
and
saying.
energy, man.
I don't think.
Don't let me
Come
go,
on,
I'm sure.
we have to be concise about this because
Great Britain is UK.
I should know this. My father-in-law's Scottish.
Actually, yeah, you're right. Wait, it is. I keep looking. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, UK is Britain. UK is Britain. Yeah, don't
and
know.
Northern Ireland.
Yeah, Northern Ireland.
The Northern Ireland's part of
Yeah, but I don't know if I think Devitt is from Republic of Ireland.
He's from Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay, that's different.
I'm not from here, so. Right, cool. If you ask me 3 wrestlers from Nigeria, I'll say Apollo, Moose, and Aziz, whatever his name, Nabakata.
It's a big star that they had back in the day in Nigeria. Big guy. It's gonna bother me now.
There was a star in Nigeria.
I say in that part of the world for a minute. Oh God,
I swear, big star in Nigeria.
Not a big star, but he was a known wrestler. He used to work all over the place. His name was Mick Foley wrestled him in the 80s.
Sure.
Oh God, it's gonna bother me now.
Shatawale.
What's he look like?
Type in Nigerian wrestler. Big guy. He's like a champion pro wrestler. He was terrible.
Shizzle Manizzle. Tony Nardo.
No.
I don't know who that is. Shizzle Manizzle. I'm seeing Nigerian drum fight.
Oh, it's gonna bother me now.
I'm saying Nigerian jollof rice.
Nigerian drum fight.
You're
I'll
sick.
probably remember this guy.
There's a few more questions. What are your thoughts on Syuri versus Utami Hayashishita from Stardom being the first female match to receive a 5.5 star rating? Have you man seen that match?
I didn't get a chance to watch it.
It was, the thing is, when you first watch it, you're gonna be like, it's a very slow match. Yeah. But I don't want to spoil it, but it was a very, very good match towards the end.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It was overall great match.
Dave gave it 5.5.
Yeah, it was.
How long was it last?
Altogether, it was like altogether it was the last women's 5-star rating.
There, how many years ago was it?
26 years ago.
26 years ago.
Well, that match.
Wow.
No, that's the last woman to get 5-star matches was 26 years ago.
Yeah, that
This match was dope. This match was like an hour.
That was Akira Hokuto against Manami Toyota.
Fucking hell, fam.
So
This is the real VHS puppy.
So what happened in that match?
You have to watch it. You have to watch it. No, it's very like strong style, stiff match, and then something happens, and then the match restarts, and then it's a dope match.
How the fans are like receptive to it?
Yeah, the match is very. Yeah, it's a dope match. We got one time for one more question.
Give me too much.
Two more. Alright, cool. Who are some of the biggest misses in WWE history? Jeez. Like someone who could have been a star, but they were booked into oblivion. I'm going to say someone probably a bit recent. Mr. Anderson, Ken Kennedy. I think he should have been a star.
Ken Kennedy was.
I was saying he could have been like the Rock.
Yeah.
That was his fault. Like, I don't know.
Man probably spite me for this, but do you know I actually like Billy Kidman? I like Billy Kidman.
I love Billy Kidman.
I like Billy Kidman.
Billy
WCW.
Kidman have been a big star though, like the top guy.
He couldn't have.
Could have been.
I like Billy Kidman.
Does it have to be just in WWE?
I mean, we can open it to anywhere else if you want.
I think in Impact Wrestling, low key, when he was doing
his
LAX run.
True, but he was very like
he ruined it himself.
He
could have been
He got over in WWE too. He won NXT. Do you remember?
Yeah, he won NXT. Yeah,
he wasn't the guy they wanted to win, so they were
Didn't he collapse flipping Dolph Ziggler?
he
That's
back to them.
Like Dolph Ziggler for him.
I'm trying to think who else. There's loads.
Rio as well.
No, but he was booked to the moon though. That's the thing.
No, but he's just.
They booked him.
Yeah, they booked him like. They booked him to the moon.
Oh yeah, he did win the Rumble.
Yeah, remember when they turned him babyface and they had him going out there. They wanted a Mexican superstar and he had an American flag. And he was going out there with an American flag.
Alberto Del Rio.
Swear down.
We need a Latino star. And they had him go out there with an American flag. And they were asking the fans to chant USA, USA. And it's like, what kind of Latino person is going to watch that and get behind this guy? That's Vince's whole thing. We need a Latino star, but he needs to speak English. It's just like, no.
And this just goes back to my conversation of them. WWE just want to replicate Eddie Guerrero again, and you're not going to get another Eddie Guerrero. Let's just continue to find new stars. Like there's no need for you to bring someone in, and just because they can't speak English well, you know what I'm saying? And I get it. In front of a crowd, you want people to be able to understand the promos and whatnot. But in the last year, we've seen someone like Asuka who's not doing promos in English, but the intensity has been through the roof. We don't have to understand though. We just get the character. Shirai as well, yeah.
Andrade last week or whatever, he speaks good enough English and they had subtitles for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, simple.
I watch UFC, I watch MMA for years. Guys have subtitles, they're big stars, it doesn't matter.
True,
you know?
But WWE want to make everything funny, innit? If you have subtitles to make it.
Yeah, we need comedy, you know?
Come on, man.
Damn Dallas Page comes to mind because they had him and he was a big deal for them. For WCW, and they got him, and they were just like
They fucked him up.
Oh, snap! I thought someone Booker T in 2003.
Booker T in 2001 when he came in, like just in general, like he's a,
He should have shot his ass to the moon.
Any WCW guy that came in.
I'm trying to think, man.
Ricochet, I think Ricochet.
Yeah, Ricochet. I'm sorry. Yeah, Ricochet. I'm sorry, but you see that storyline I had. Yeah.
Yeah.
I beg, please, the next WWE 2K22. Yeah, let us allow us to create a storyline. The Prince Puma thing, like, just keeps flashing. Do you remember that thing I said? Yeah. They need to bring that back. They need to bring it, fam.
That guy's got a lot in terms of like this the ring style. Kids will love that guy as well. Like it's like, you know, he's just a superstar. You know, you can say what you want about his promos, but yeah, don't let him cut promos. Just let him work.
Prince Puma, bring in the mask, man.
Give him the mask. I love Ricochet as a wrestler, but as someone that just talks, I just don't want to hear it. I'm muting at this thing.
I watched him in PWG cut decent promos. You know, like he's a bit wooden, but you know, don't let him do it.
I think because in PWG he's just himself. He doesn't have to think about appeasing to 2,000 people on the network or people on last questions from our guy Nabil Dad. Big you up, Nabil Dad. I don't know if that's your surname, but big you up. Same way. Do you think pro wrestling will ever become mainstream again like it was during the Attitude Era?
Yes.
Never.
What?
I don't think so.
Explain.
Bro, do you know how big it was in 97 to 2001?
Yeah.
Even before like 2000.
Deep it, bro.
Bro, wrestling was a part of pop culture.
Deep it. You're watching a children's show. Bret Hart will come at the thing. Hey! You're watching something UK like Live and Kicking. You remember Live and Kicking?
Oh, how can I forget?
Live and Kicking, or that Sunday morning thing on ITV. You get Kane coming with his mask. Bro, nowadays they'll come on the TV, they'll come on the news rather than the actual TV shows. So what do you think about pro wrestling? And the man I told you how to keep Kane fame. You get what I mean, fam? It's like, bro,
it's impossible, man. I honestly do not see it.
I don't want to say it's impossible because I do believe when things fall out of trend, they do come back in. And till this day, they're still selling out arenas. They're still selling out buildings.
That's the setup to fans, though.
But you have to understand, yeah. So even if we look at stuff like comic books, yeah, comic books have always been selling. It's only now, in the last how many years, it's become a part of popular culture.
You know,
niche will always sell out. Niche stuff will always sell out because there's always a market for it.
I hear what
but
you're saying.
In terms of like a popular, like if you were to go link a thing and you say, yeah, we're gonna go watch wrestling, I guarantee 9 times out of 10, the girl is going to crib you and say, yo, I'm not going to lie. It's not happening. But if you say to a girl, babes, let's go watch Black Panther or let's go watch Doctor Strange. She's like, yeah, I'm on it. But if you're not going to say to a girl, yeah, babes, let's go watch some Roman Reigns, man. Come in here. Come and acknowledge Roman Reigns. Shooty's going to tell you, listen, I'm not going to lie. I'd rather go and watch our Sophia in London.
That's on Netflix.
I'd rather watch Nollywood because what? I don't see it happening. I'm so sorry. I hope.
Yeah, I think that's just the hope in me as well. But again, I believe trends do come and go. But as you said before, like comics, they had their golden age and they've not had their golden age since. So I get it. But I think it will get popular in one way or another.
Really and truly, it should get popular because I mean, God, they make so much money on these TV rights or whatever. They get $240 a year from Fox, and like they have guys on Fox going on Fox, but none of these guys for whatever reason latch on to the general public. It's like you know, there's no Steve Austin, there's no Rock, there's no Hulk Hogan, there's no Randy Savage. You need that kind of big, colourful person. Yeah, and I don't know if they've got that. Lashley's not that guy, and Lesnar's not that guy either. Lesnar's a popular, well-known guy, but he's not that person that's going to take someone who doesn't watch wrestling to watch wrestling.
I think there's going to be another adaptation in wrestling. Like, we're already seeing the cinematic kind of wrestling style. You know, like Lucha Underground, stuff like that. I think that's going to be the next step in it. Yeah. The next step. It's not going to be like the WWE format, have the match promo. It's going to be more like a series or something. If you get what I'm saying.
Wouldn't that create wrestling though? That's not watching wrestling, that's watching the series.
It will change it completely. Like WWE have already thought about it. Like I remember they did a poll saying, would you like WWE to be presented like a kind of TV show like Game of Thrones or something?
And I guess their fan base said no.
Pretty much, yeah. Well now, I think it's gonna change because we're already seeing cinematic style matches.
Well, Lucha Underground did that stuff. You know, Lucha Underground, for good or bad, the cinematic matches pretty much came from Lucha Underground. Yeah. So, you know, there's that part of history that they're a part of.
There's always a pioneer there. There's always someone that does it the best. You know what I'm saying?
True. But I do feel like we're going to end, like 5 years from now or 10 years from now, we're going to enter that stage where a new generation of wrestlers are going to come into it and we're going to be getting swaps over. Like a lot of guys from AEW are going to go cross over to WWE and vice versa. Even more. Like we're gonna enter that phase where it's gonna be even more intense because deep it we're at the beginning of AW's infancy, innit? Bro, give it a couple years, 10, 5 years from now.
Up at the end of the year.
Bro, there's gonna be a Mazzolini. You're gonna be shocked at the stuff you're gonna be seeing, bro. WWE might even get a new star.
WWE are gonna throw money at so much of these guys, whether they want them or not.
It's gonna be nuts, bro.
Some guys won't go, like the Bucks or Kenny or Cody.
Kenny wants to go to WWE.
The thing is, he'd want to, but the thing is, Kenny's an EVP. He'd want to work with them as opposed to like go there and give up his creative freedom. Because otherwise, all of them would have gone there before.
They all
got amazing offers, and they said, you know what? We want to be in control of our character. We want to control our destiny. So fuck it.
Yeah, let's go and
create our own WWE universe.
I don't think Kenny trusts them with his career. I think they're waiting to make him look bad as well. But guys like Scorpio Sky, his deal would come up at the end of the year. I can see them wanting Scorpio Sky, and he's a talented guy. But I mean, if he leaves AEW, what does it matter really? Yeah. So those guys, Joey Janela comes up, at the end of the year, and those kind of characters like Park. I don't think he'll go back, but Hangman Page and those. All those deals are coming up. They're going to get money thrown at them like crazy. Wrestling business is going to be so interesting, especially when things go back on the road, like next month. There's going to be so much to talk about.
Yeah.
A question before we wrap up. A question I want to ask you guys is that do you think we'll ever get to a point in WWE where NXT will be the second main roster, the second main show? I thought that they kind of like, with the excitement that NXT has, it can possibly be that. I thought that Raw is like some of these like Raw, SmackDown sometimes it's very lackluster. Do you think we'll ever get to a point where NXT becomes like the main people? Because that's where they will get those stars from.
I'd say no, only just for the sheer fact that WWE still treat that as a feeder league. They still treat it as developmental, and it's like once they come from NXT, there's no real like significance or importance for that wrestler.
When was the last time someone came from NXT and like popped?
None. The only person I can think of at the moment that's probably been the next best NXT call-up as of the last few years is probably Matt Riddle. He's been the most consistent.
He's always on TV all the time.
He's been the most consistent. Other than that, I can't really think of.
He's likable as well.
I can't think of anybody else that's come up and had good reigns. So, yeah.
I hear that. Sorry, what was the question again? Do you know what it is? It could be. It has the potential to be. But it's just, again, being suppressed. It's just being treated as like a development. It's not being taken seriously. When really and truly, it should be. Because, like, let's be honest, Raw and SmackDown is a bit stale. And NXT is a new product. It could be a third brand. But I feel like the reason why they don't want to pull the trigger on that to make it a third brand is because it might get bigger than SmackDown and Raw. And then it's like, now you've lost SmackDown and Raw because now NXT's here.
I just think that those guys on NXT that have been there for years, like Adam Cole and super talented guys, they're never going to get called up. It's like I just don't. For their own sake, they probably shouldn't. Like
they're messy contracts.
Yeah, they're just gonna contracts. Adam Cole and those guys. It's best for them that they just stay on NXT anyway, really. But like, I don't see. I'm not saying Vince doesn't care about NXT because he gets paid for it on the USA Network, but it's not his priority. It's like I don't think it ever has been his priority. Really, it's Triple H's thing. Adam Cole's another one when his deal comes up.
But yeah, wow. Oh, thank you for coming
Thank
down.
you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You've shared mad gems from. I'm like, bro. We need to get you back on again, though.
No, I just want to say, like, I love what you guys do. I love you guys' chemistry and stuff like that, and I really enjoy the show. And I'm really thankful for you having me on. Like,
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. When you come on, you need to bring that jerk, though. He's telling me that he's got the best jerk in Essex, fam.
Yeah, I'll be doing. Yeah, that's my thing, bro.
Okay.
So next time I come around, bro, I'll get the barbecue out and I'll bring some pieces. Like.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it, man.
Let's
do it. Boy, what a good episode this was, man. Episode 73, WRESTHINGS. I'll be your boy, Del Boy.
Young Leps.
And Earl.
And WRESTHINGS podcast, episode 73, by the Mandem, for the Mandem. Bow, pussy. Jade Cargill. Hurry up and come to UK.